you've decided that you are no longer going to pay for all your bills using your credit card, but you want to know, how are you supposed to save up for these planned expenses that are going to be coming into your life? You need a sinking fund. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those who don't know me, my name is Carly. I'm a wife and homeschool mom of 4 boys, and my husband and I are expecting our 5th baby this June. If you are interested in budgeting, ways to get out of debt, ways to save money, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. So today we're talking about sinking funds. What is a sinking fund? A sinking fund is basically an emergency fund for your emergency fund. For those who don't know, an emergency fund is money you set aside for 3 to 6 months of living expenses in case something catastrophic happens. For example, you get laid off from your job, or your car explodes. Something like a super unforeseen emergency arises, so that you have some money stored away that can help you take care of that emergency without you needing to use a credit card. A sinking fund is a short-term savings goal for specific things. For example, Brian and I have a sinking fund specifically for our house. We purchased our home last June of 2020, and it was a new construction home, and it didn't come with gutters, so we need to put gutters on our house this spring. So we have a sinking fund where we're specifically putting money aside every month for those gutters. And this is a sinking fund that I'm planning on continuing to contribute money to every month, just because when you're a homeowner, you know that inevitably there is going to be another repair that is needed for your house. So rather than me having to dip into my emergency fund to buy gutters or replace a water softener or a dishwasher that breaks, I have a separate sinking fund for household needs. So our house sinking fund is one example of a type of sinking fund that is good to have. You can have, honestly, as many sinking funds as you want. We have, besides our house sinking fund, we have a sinking fund specifically for vacation. Brian and I have been together for almost 10 years now, and in that 10 years, we have gone on one vacation together, and that was, oh my goodness, I think it was like close to 5 years ago now. We went to Wisconsin Dells for 4 days. In between that, we've had 2 more children, and like I said, we're expecting our 5th, so we paid off debt, we bought a new house. So we've just been prioritizing a lot of other things that have prevented us from going on a vacation. Lots of people do, however, cash flow vacation funds even when they are paying off debt. Just with our particular situation, it just didn't seem practical for us. So we're finally in a position where we can put money aside to go on a vacation. And obviously last year has been just a really rough year for everyone. So now that it's 2021, we're hoping that we can maybe go on a vacation before our 5th baby arrives this June. So that is our plan. We have a sinking fund specifically for vacation. So we put money aside, we'll have it all planned out. That way we don't have to use a credit card to pay for our trip because we already have the money set aside. Obviously, some people are very still pro credit cards. Some people are very against credit cards. I personally just try to avoid credit cards as much as possible because I'd much rather, if I had the money, I'd rather just use the money to pay for things. So that's just my personal opinion on credit cards. Your finances are a very personal thing, so you have to do what works best for you. Another sinking fund that we have is a sinking fund for my maternity leave. I do discuss my maternity leave in another video, which I will link above if you are interested in taking a look at that. We also have a sinking fund for car maintenance. Our cars are both paid off, but they are a little older. One is 11 years old and one is 10 years old. So inevitably, they're going to require maintenance and repair. So we put money aside in a sinking fund for car maintenance every month. This is another sinking fund that I'm always going to be contributing money into, because inevitably our car is going to break down and we're going to need to buy a new one. And our goal is hopefully to be able to buy a new car in cash rather than having to take out a car loan. So putting money aside every month for the inevitability of eventually needing to buy a new car down the road just makes a lot more sense to us, again, so that we don't have to dip into our emergency fund when we need to buy a car. So sinking funds are just a really great way to help cash flow your life for expenses that you inevitably know are going to be coming down the road, so that when those expenses come up, you're not caught off guard. It doesn't throw off your whole budget. You don't have to totally deplete all your savings or put that unforeseen expense on a credit card. Another great example for a good sinking fund to have is a Christmas sinking fund. I know lots of people who literally start a sinking fund for their Christmas purchases in January. And this makes sense, especially if you are someone who is really big on buying gifts, or even for someone who really likes to decorate. You know, you're eventually going to need to buy more Christmas lights because those don't always last from year to year. So it's just nice to kind of have a fund for when it comes to that most wonderful time of the year of giving, and that way you have that fund so you can give and you don't have to feel like Christmas is a financial hardship or burden for you. This is a sinking fund definitely that I think like to start. I haven't started one yet. Maybe I will in the next couple of months start a Christmas fund, but that's another great sinking fund to have. What are good ways to keep track of your sinking funds? How I like to keep track of my sinking funds is I just have a separate savings account for each one. With my credit union I use, it doesn't cost me any money, and I don't believe there is a limit for how many savings accounts I can open. So each one is nicknamed. I have my emergency fund, I have one nicknamed vacation, maternity leave, car fund, house fund. So that's just the easiest way for me to keep track of the amount of money that's in each fund. Some people just keep all their money in one savings account and then keep track via a spreadsheet. Another way some people like to keep track of their sinking funds is stuffing envelopes. Lots of people just find it easier if they just put the cash into different envelopes and keep track of their sinking funds that way. This option might not be practical for everyone just because it does require you to go to the bank and withdraw money every time you want to put money into an envelope for your sinking fund. But some people, they really like just using cash and using the envelope. Obviously, if you do decide to go with this option, I would definitely recommend getting like a fireproof safe, just because having lots of money stashed in your house, you know, it just makes sense to keep it in a fireproof safe to keep that money secure. So those are 3 different ways that you can keep track of your sinking funds. So no matter where you are in your financial journey, whether you are still working on paying off your debt, whether you have fully paid off your debt and have your emergency fund, I really hope that you start utilizing sinking funds today for those expenses that you know are going to be coming up down the road. So that way you can take charge of that situation and you can have that peace of mind knowing that you are able to pay for those things. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below letting me know how you have used sinking funds in your life.